Najigurjan Naya Nilawal Michael Jallery Janaburu Rubivi. Hello everyone, my name's Michael Jallery and I'm from Broome.
Manjmak, thank you. We're here today in Darwin studio at Yolngu Radio, and we would like to hopefully question you for the purpose for what treaty is and what it will do and what it does, and hopefully we will get the understanding of that.
Yo, dhaŋu nan ngurungum kam ngalanyu ngarungang dunnanay. Na dual treaty.
So the question is, Mick, what is a treaty?
A treaty's an agreement or settlement, but it's a special agreement.
Nhäma. Yurana yung idol di room o yurana minyawi ninato room yako na miriul ngolo langgal. Yurana room go di kiti treaty.
Ngay to kangura yan.
Eh?
Settlement ngay lakarangal na yako. Nalpen nuno muna nangal settlement ma.
Yindi na kun ngayon ito room nama between Yirriṉiṉba states, a nation, warpam Australia, government kal, kayo ngol na.
Yo, yura na na bitjani.
Yo.
Yo. Now ngal treaty jal kinalangam Northern Territory ngam.
So make another question is, why is a treaty needed in the Northern Territory?
That's a very good question. Ballina came to this country and took it over without an agreement. We need an agreement to fix that up, and we're calling it treaty.
Dhaŋum nan gay ngarakrama bana balandawara bana danal ngachil baman per ngirimbuan rale pala ngarako minan jinako ngirimao ngarakaw Australia o ngalmalingkuro tuanayam nan ngaru kay ngayuran na ranguya ngalmalingkura kadanalingkura yan nan ngunarakaranam
Bolo. Bicara nanu rakaran bet.
Pican nunuduan rakaranam kakaruanam.
Yo. Tualidid knowing tarokja. And also, how can a treaty be given a legal standing in the NT?
One of the things that might be in a treaty is preservation, transmission of language. And not just language, it could be cultural protection for connection to country.
So, in continuing our Rome, also culture, language, and everything.
Yes, the treaty terms, what you write down on paper, would include that. I think all First Nations, and we talk about First Nations, would want to do that, would want protection. Probably first thing, culture, language, religious and spiritual traditions, connection to country, looking after country. All of that, I would think, would be number one for Yolngu.
Pican ngayam don mga kulkam bilijan. Kal mga ro jalkre burpuruna.
Aljan?
Jalkre ngal mga ro dhaŋu burpuruna dhaŋu mal ngiri male. Ka taray na ngal malingwa ro darukko romgo na malay na dalal ngal malay ba na puruar punuan. Panay ngal makaya nga dhaŋu deroman ma.
Lingo bicara ngai ngona yäku ngal mikto. That first thing is toli the important jale morong limot to try toli the balay din jal kril kama. Ka ngai to kanguran room ngorna.
Deroman na pana ngalangro danal dakarn guan. Katakarn guan dal ngal malay biwale lingo.
Yo, and it's just matter of trying to get it back.
Yeah, pican.
Yo, and inform.
Yeah,
By restoring the so it's there for future generations to come. Is that what we're understanding here, Mick?
Yes, but that's not the only thing in a treaty.
Yeah.
But that's, I think,
One of many.
well, probably the most important.
Okay, nice, good one. So, and the next question is: are there limits to a NT treaty?
Yes, because the Northern Territory is a territory, and under that big law, the Constitution, Commonwealth Canberra law, it's boss over a territory, and under territory law, there's some legal issues, but our advice is that it shouldn't stop treaty making between the Northern Territory government and Aboriginal First Nations.
Yeah, bican nan gunarakanam kam dunum nanay ngaro jinalam dunupayman. Turturuyuan dalang ngal malay biwale Commonwealth ngoro ngal malay nam Northern Territory nam tanalingweru danal tanalingweru room do mulkuruyo dalang ngal malay bican ngakareyo man.
Bili limru dual Naingorian territory ng yakalimru part of state. Deng mak ngay kagumru daltri niya.
Iyo. Pala danal ba na ngakareyo manan ngal malay pala ngarakot minan gumuryon danal bicanan mayanan kam dhaŋum ralin gito ban.
Yo, lingo limru still under Canberra.
Yo.
So just talking about how territory is still under Canberra, and that's where the decision needs to be happening as well. Yo.
Yes, the Northern Territory self-government law is Canberra law, like the Land Rights Act, like the Native Title Act.
Yeah.
Yep, pala dyan. Ay kagumru dal naman. Kangan. Umitrinan.
Mari minenangal mamgabduan na yan dort tumana. Ralin, banaralin, rulang dunabalan. Diro mana. Panana danal jakawaruan. Ujulul iban kong ujulul iban danal.
Yo.
Ujulul warata anam danal balangakiri manangal malinam.
Yo.
Tamalam Northern Territory lim.
Yo, that's why tudali naman.
Yeah,
Nakun bulun dokang upan. Try right kumala.
yeah, pican.
Also, is it just to be a treaty or treaties?
We've been to many places in the last 2 years, right around the territory, down the centre, west, east, and to Arnhem Land, eastern Arnhem Land, Groote Island. People want their own treaty. Each First Nation should have their own treaty. That's what people are telling us. But there might be one big treaty right across the Northern Territory, one law from the Northern Territory Parliament, Legislative Assembly. That's the rule book for making these treaties First Nation by First Nation.
Yeah, that's just that the especially mainly the Yolngu people, in general across the territory, hopefully will get that idea the message. That's what is going to look at. Yeah. What about constitutional change, Mick?
We're not looking at that. That's not part of our terms of reference. The Treaty Commission's terms of reference. That's like our rule book. We don't have power to look at that question.
Yeah. Because you're independent? Was that the...
No, the only way to change the constitution is for all the people in Australia to vote to change it.
Yeah.
And because
Territory can't do that itself.
Because we're still under Canberra.
Yeah, because we're a territory.
And that's why we don't have that capacity to do so.
We can vote in what they call a referendum to change the constitution. But, territory population very small. Not a lot of voters.
Tanaling kurangal madangu warau ngakanyina bijan warau ngadaling kurangal makanyina ngalmam Northern Territory tanaling kura warau ngunyar balak federal kura Commonwealth kura kapman kura tanaling kurangal makada warau ngamnyina.
Yo, so just that people will hopefully understand the question. Yeah. And so when do you think will a treaty be made?
We've discussed this in our discussion paper. We've looked not just in Australia, but in the United States, in Canada, in Aotearoa, New Zealand. In Canada, they're taking about 20 to 25 years.
Because mala marichirom gordal kor katry kangupani. That's a very long time because that's a process that needs to go through is very, very long time. It's the reason why. Iyo. Kadi yun dyan na kun lakaram.
Napu ja.
Ngunit ngay ka na kun baman wiin ngay to dal taking ja.
Pilihnya bican dal paman ngal malay bedang kumbo anam dangong ngirimam. Ngay kanam danal baladanal danal yes narakaran dangong ngirima yul ngudaran ngayilpin ku ngal mau napan tuloy yun na ngal malen na claiming dangong balan ngal mawarat to na. Bican na ngaruan danal. Pana marta miche ang bumayul ngora. Ngapa ke ora.
Kabuan swal ngani biche rin bala
gubong wala warpam dura limurun.
And that's why limur to.
Nguni limur jato don.
Okay.
Yo.
All right. Can I just say something about that? Land claims under the Northern Territory Land Rights Act didn't happen in Arnhem Land. Your land got scheduled. But elsewhere in the Northern Territory, people had to go through land claim under the Land Rights Act. They took, 20 to 25 years. The
same way.
Canby took 40 years.
Yeah, same way, very same way.
But, Captain Cook arrived, they take country off people. They took your country off, Yolngu. Took over 100 years to get that back and didn't get back until land rights law.
Yeah, and that's why it's a very long time and it will take this long.
Yeah.
Similar, but different circumstances. But because this is treaty, the same rules apply as well and similar to if once something happened that within Yolngu country.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we got to take the time to get it right for future generations,
Yeah.
so they can't break it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Then that's the aim.
Yeah. Yeah.
Say yes to the big law that sets up treaty in the Northern Territory. We are putting forward ideas, suggestions. We're not saying this is what First Nations have to do. What we're saying, maybe there should be a big meeting that's set up by an interim treaty commission that will have the job of writing that new law, territory-wide law, and of the job of bringing representatives from First Nations to come and agree to that law, or say, no, it's no good, or we want this fixed or that fixed. So before it goes to the Legislative Assembly, Aboriginal people must sign off and say, yes, we're happy with that.
I think that's a very big decision to make, especially when trying to engage with a whole lot of the Yolngu people across the board in the Northern Territory, and to actually sit down and go through with them and to make them understanding. And so they have to also realize that hopefully the importance and the benefits of this. That's why it needs to directly engage with our mob.
Especially the elders, Mala.
Yeah, especially the elders. And I think that is a very good choice.
One other suggestion, as a separate job, we'll be suggesting there be a truth-telling commission or somebody to look at history, things like stolen generation. How do we get that mob connected back to country? A lot of people got killed when Ballina first came. How do we deal with those massacres? They tried to destroy culture and language. They dispossessed people. A lot of people got hunted off their country, put into mission stations, government stations, and they give that country away to Ballina. Through the land claim, some coming back, through the native title process, some coming back. All of that business is in the past. We call it unfinished business. We've got to fix that up. First Nations, Aboriginal people in Northern Territory government, got to sit down and work out what we do about that history. And only then can we move on to treaty, a different political, economic, social and cultural relationship with the colonisers.
I think that is also a very important aspect, and because it's also the Yolngu people in general, and including the Stolen Generation's intention to actually go through this important movement. And it is that important that everyone needs to be on the same page to understand, to get through and walk side by side. And hopefully that the dhaŋu that we are having the interview about will reach to the people, and hopefully people mob at home will be also making them understanding, because there are a lot of Yolngu people in general that are still not understanding.